What if I told you you could flip property and make a profit without even getting a mortgage? In this video, I'm going to break down a creative property strategy called the assisted sale, which I've used a few times and so can you, and how it compares to traditionally flipping property, which everyone, including Joe Blogs and their dog, know about, but you need to think differently, especially in this property market. So I'm going to break down the difference between sourcing the property all the way to getting paid. Let's get into it. Yes, sir. So if you're new to property or you're thinking about scaling up without huge deposits, this strategy is going to open your eyes so wide. I'm telling you, you might not even get any sleep tonight. But look, I'm going to tell you the real differences between the strategies and also the risks as well, because no one loses money in property. They all make money, don't they? Hey, that's another story, for another day. But listen, step one being how to find these property deals. So when it comes to traditional flips, you're mostly looking for undervalued properties that have strong equity, and you'll mostly find these properties in auction houses. They're probate properties, they are repossessions, also known as corporate sales if you are looking on Rightmove and the whole lot. And also you'll find them with estate agents. Now that's not to say that you must always look for properties that are below market value, because sometimes you can pay full market value as long as you can add enough value to that property to increase it to still make your margin. Now bearing in mind, these type of sellers, they are prioritizing speed over price compared to sellers who will be more suitable for the assisted sales strategy, where they've been on the market for quite some time. Typically with an estate agent, they've had no luck. Now, these type of sellers are more clinging onto the price rather than prioritizing the speed. And that's the best thing about assisted sales, because you can get them closer to their asking price. But you can see here how there's two different types of sellers, each of which require two forms of marketing. Now, I want you to put yourself in the shoes of a seller who's willing to take a discount because they prioritize speed. Now, they are solution aware in their property transaction journey because they are actively looking to sell their property. Now, if you want to sell your property very quickly, where would you go? You would find cash buying companies. And where are they? They're typically online. So what do? You type in Google, buy my house fast, blah, blah, blah. And that's what you call intent marketing, because they are intentionally searching for a solution to their problem because they know it is out there, and they will sell the house. It just depends which cash buying company is willing to give them the best price. Now, you can compare that to the type of seller such as assisted sale, where they're not really aware that this assisted sale strategy can really help them. So they're more like problem aware. So where does that leave you? You need to advertise to them correctly in order to attract them. Now, I do go deeper into this strategy of marketing in my assisted sale webinar, which you can sign up to. But if you miss it, then I have produced a free bonus resource on how to attract these type of sellers in the description below. But let's move on to number two, securing the deal. Now, you need a deposit if you are hoping to acquire that property using bridging finance. Now, if you're not using bridging finance, then you just need to buy that property outright with cash. And that's a lot of cash, especially if you're buying here in Birmingham. And if you do have that amount of cash, then reach out, let's work together, let's invest, let's flip property. Check the description below. But anyway, that is to legally make it your property. Now, what are the risks with that? Especially if you are purchasing that property with bridging finance, it comes with interest, typically high interest every single month. And you need to be aware of the time frames as well. Now, bridging can be 6, 12, 18 months. 12 months will be sensible, just because anything can fall over and you have to remarket that property and see if you can find another buyer. Now, you have to literally start paying interest from day one, and you've got a lot more skin in the game compared to an assisted sale, whereby it's quite straightforward. You are partnering up with the seller, and how you do that is by agreeing to some terms. I'm not going to go through all the terms, just to keep it simple. You agree a guaranteed price with the seller that they know they're going to walk away with from the property, and also the length of term as well. And then what you do, you send that paperwork to solicitors to make it into a legally binding agreement. Then you crack on, you do the refurb and all that good stuff. Now, there are some advantages to securing a deal under an assisted sale agreement. One of them being you don't need to wait for any lender to approve any loan. So that sidesteps any mortgage/finance delays. Second one being, you don't have to pay for any stamp duty. And the third one being, you are less exposed to the market financially, because what would you rather be literally neck deep into a property flip, 80 grand, 90 grand, whatever, compared to possibly 10 grand a refurb and assisted sale. But not only that, you are kind of less exposed to market shifts because anything can change. Yes, it's not to say because you're doing assisted sale or compared to a flip, you're not in the same market. You are in the same market. But if things really go left because properties get downvalued all the time, would you rather lose 80 grand or 10 grand? I'll let you decide. But if you've learned something new so far, let me know in the comments and subscribe for more, because I will be releasing some more content. Step 3, the refurbishment phase. Now, they're very similar, but there's a few differences and implications if things go wrong or take too long. Give an example. When you are flipping, yes, all refurb costs are on you because it's your house, your project, XYZ, builders, materials, the lot, you name it. But the thing is that if that project takes longer than it's supposed to and you bought with a bridging loan, you are at mercy of more interest being accumulated on that loan if it takes longer than what you initially agreed, which erodes at your profit margins. And it can be quite a dangerous game, especially if you don't flip the property to the right buyer, there's delays, it's a headache, right? Now, compare that to an assisted sale where yes, you are wholeheartedly, depending on what you agree, to refurb that property. Now, I've refurbed all of my assisted sales and I haven't asked for any contribution from the seller. But then again, as I said, it's all depending on what you agree with the seller. It's all negotiable, and that's the beauty of it. But just remember, the property is still in the ownership of the seller. So do you want to build extensions and stuff like that? I personally don't. It's up to you if you want to do that. But I avoid that by any means necessary. All you need to do is do the property as fast as you can, make it presentable, and get it to the market. Let's step on to number 4, selling the property. Now, as you're flipping, easily introduce it to the market via an estate agent yourself, but you are in full control of that legal process because it's just you and the buyer's solicitor. Now, compare that to the assisted sales strategy. Yes, you can sell it with an agent or you sell it yourself, whatever, to cut down the cost and get the end result that the seller wants and what you want. But in the paperwork, it should state that you are responsible. The sole responsibility is on you to negotiate and accept the price. Now, as long as the seller gets what they've agreed to, e.g. their guaranteed price in the terms, then everything's hunky-dory. You want to accept a price that not only provides speed for that seller, but you make a bit of money in the process as well. But when it comes to the solicitors, there's 3 involved. There's one that's representing you, there's one that's representing the seller, and the new buyer's solicitor. And they communicate so wonderfully with each other to ensure that you get paid for your efforts from the proceeds of the sale, and the mortgage, whatever, depending on if the seller's got one, gets paid off, and the funds just get distributed quite nicely, okay? Yeah. And the new buyer ensures that, or their solicitors ensure that the legal transfer of that property is rightfully theirs. But there's a few risks and mistakes along the way which I need to tell you about. But before I do, step 5 is getting paid. This is what we're doing it for, right? Unless you do it for a hobby and you're just a non-profit organization, but I'm yet to come across one, believe it or not. But it's quite simple. Your sale price of that property minus your costs leaves you with your profit. But you need to take into consideration, if you are using bridging finance, there's finance costs and there's also capital gains tax as well, because you are disposing of an asset which triggers capital gains tax. But it doesn't when you're using the assisted sale strategy, because technically you're not buying the property. And when it comes with the assisted sale strategy, it's more like, what did you agree with the seller minus your costs? That leaves you with your profit. So the risk to traditional flipping is getting exposed to spiraling bridging interest. Second one being is that you could get caught up in refurbishment delays, given that you are doing potentially more to the property. Third one being is that you could get caught up in legal delays. Fourth one, you could get caught in a mid-market crisis, depending on how long you are in a deal. But then again, anything can happen overnight. Drones, bombs, the lot, mate. Now, with an assisted sale, of course it's not perfect. It comes with risks. If your deal isn't legally structured correctly, then it can all fall apart. And I will do another YouTube video about the legal side as well, but I'll go deeper in the webinar. Now, other one being if the relationship breaks down with that seller, because it can, I've got experience with that, it can also fall apart and the seller could potentially pull out as well. And also you have less control over the property given that you do not own it. Now, if you're thinking which strategy to use, this is not financial advice, but what are the pros and cons? If you're the type of person that has a decent amount of capital or has access to a line of finance at cheap interest rates, and I must emphasize a build team that can crack on and knock out projects one by one, then I will say you are ripe and ready to go. Now, I didn't take that route because I'm not too keen with the interest and all that stuff that comes with the loans. But I'm thinking to myself, hold on, I can build up a little pot here. There's no risk. I don't need to take out any loans. There's no huge deposits. There's no credit checks. I can just literally agree something with the seller and crack on with the work. But with that, it comes a skill set. To be able to find and negotiate an assisted sale isn't easy. And if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But you can almost use this strategy anywhere in the world, especially if you have a limited amount of money, but you want to multiply it. This could be the strategy for you. And it makes you more niche in the market. Instead of saying, oh, here's a silly offer, you're like, let's work with the seller collaboratively to see if we can meet in the middle and get what we both want. You want this household. I want to make a bit of money. I can help you. And when it's all said and done and the money drops in your account and the seller's smiling because they tried everything underneath the sun and it hasn't worked, it's a wonderful thing. But let's talk about mistakes. It's quite simple. If you make a mistake in property, it's going to cost you thousands of pounds and possibly your sanity. So why would you want to do that? You're smarter than that. Go find somebody who's done what you want to do recently, mirror them, learn from them, and go make some money. It's there, it's simple. People are doing it, so can you. If you want to learn more, check out the webinar or check out the free resources in the section. And there's one more thing, I will be producing another video about the legal structure of an assisted sale. Thanks for watching.